My name is Andrew Nelson. I'm a public information specialist here at the Department of Consumer Affairs for South Carolina. And we are just ramping up for the holiday seasons, but you know that scammers are also ramping up and they're running new scams on everyone. So we're going to be talking about how we can be safe online. Let's look at the numbers first. So this is a report that we put together this year, and this comprises of 462 reports about scams that have been registered with us. And the top three of those were purchasing scams, service and repair, and debt collection in nature. So this is kind of the reason that we feel that talking about online shopping scams would be helpful. For that top one, purchasing scams, this is basically where a scammer is approached by an imposter business, and the consumer is tricked into paying for a fake consumer good. Most often, it will occur online, and when the payment is made, the to an online purchase or something like that, the item will inevitably not be delivered because there was no product to begin with. So we're going to want to talk a little bit more about that. And you can see that that has come to the top of our list. Now, another report that we file is with the Federal Trade Commission. And so this is a report that puts together to talk about some of the top 10 fraud categories that have been recognized. And you can see at the top of that list are imposter scams, online shopping, and negative review scams, and internet services. So, I mean, basically, when talking about purchase scams, you can see that all of those are in that top ranking. And you can see some of the total losses in 2025 and also the median losses as well there on the far right of your screen. So that kind of puts it into perspective for us that this is an issue that we're facing. And this is a common way that scammers are parting consumers with their hard-earned money. So let's go ahead and look at what these online shopping scams look like and how they take place. Now we're all starting to get into the shopping season, as I mentioned, and we're trying to get those good deals, but we want to be aware of the type of things that we start looking at. So where does this scam start in the first place? Well, oftentimes it will start from a somewhat safe website, and even places like Amazon or other websites that host a third-party seller, somebody who's not working at the business, but they're using that business's service to distribute their goods. And so oftentimes they will advertise with legitimate looking websites on places like Facebook, Google, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, all of these different places. They can throw up advertisements for their fake website and get people to leave a safe platform and move on to their fake website where they can start running a scam on them. So that's a place where it can start. Now, I'm sure if you've listened to a few of our webinars, you remember the adage of if it seems too good to be true, that's because it probably is. And so when you're looking for deals, you may find an amazing deal with rock bottom prices that you can't find anywhere else. And you think, all right, I'm going to order it because I don't want to miss this great deal. Well, then nothing comes in the mail. Your order is never delivered, but your money has been stolen. And sure, I don't want to discount the idea that you can find some really good deals online by doing comparison shopping, but you have to be wary about the deeply discounted prices that you find. And keep in mind, scammers will often pay for their websites to show up as a top result in a search engine. And so you can't always trust the very first website that pops up on your list as a sponsored website or a recommended website. You're going to want to still be doing your research to figure out if that's real or not. So, for example, let's say that you're looking for a Christian Louis Vuitton sandal. I don't know if this is on anyone's Christmas list that you're shopping for. But according to this website, it's saying that the listing price is over $3,000. That's a little bit rich for my taste for shoe wear, but needless to say, let's say you're shopping for it. Well, you come across this website and you see, oh my goodness, it's discounted for $205. Man, that's a deal. And you have to think to yourself, what was the adage we talked about? If it seems too good to be true, that's because it probably is. And they're trying to get you to bite on that offer by having just that great sale in place. So we don't want to be worried when the price seems like there's a big gap between the regular pricing and even some of the discounted pricing, but then there's usually outliers that are just really, really cheap. You're going to want to be aware of those. Next is you're going to want to watch out for strange payment methods that are being requested. You want to be wary of sellers that are requiring you to pay through a specific form of payment. Those things are going to be wire transfers or payment apps, things like prepaid gift cards or debit cards. Also, you're going to want to watch out for anything that's asking for cryptocurrency because scammers often prefer these types of payments because they're like cash and they're not easily stopped in transaction, and it's difficult to track those after it's happened. So you're going to want to watch out for the weird payment methods that you have there. Story time. For example, my dad is really loves gardening, and a few years ago he was looking for a specific type of fertilizer that would boost the soil that he was planting in, so it came to a certain level that he was hoping for. And when he looked at the regular website, oof, it was a little bit expensive for his blood. So he started looking online to see if he could find a better deal. And he found one, and it was, I think, like 50% off or something like that. I'm sure of the specifics of the price, but he thought it was just a great deal. And so he made the purchase. Well, then he waited and he waited and he waited some more. And needless to say, that package never showed up. And so, even a simple thing like fertilizer, there are people who are setting up fake online scams to get people hooked. So, you want to be careful about the places that you find those deals, the gaps you find in the pricing, and then also the payment methods that they're looking for. So, now you want to consider the payment options and you want to be able to protect yourself when doing that purchasing if you find a good deal. One of the ways you can do that is by considering your payment options. So you're not going to be wanting to use your debit card for online purchases because there are a lot more consumer protections for credit cards if something ends up going wrong. Because if your debit card number gets stolen from some website that's fake or something like that, if it gets stolen, that's a direct line to your bank account. And so the scammer is going to be able to reach right in and steal money from you. On the other hand, if you're using a credit account, that's a completely separate bucket from your bank account. So, say you make a purchase on a shady website and it turns out to be a scam. Well, if that scammer racks up a charge on your credit card, that's not actually money coming out of your bank account yet. And so it'll be easier for the credit company to hopefully be able to cancel that with no skin off of your nose and no problem to them either. So there are just more consumer protections with that. Using payment apps, there are some places that highly recommend you using a payment app. And so when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you review the app's fraud protection policies, specifically their financial liability policies, because you want to understand if and how you can recover any funds if some sort of problem arises. If a scam happens and they rack up a big charge on your payment app, what type of liability do you have there if you report it? And then also another step that you can take is to link your payment app to a credit card rather than that debit card. So then if automatic deposit happens and automatic payment happens for that payment app, then money isn't directly taken out of your bank account that way. Some other ways to protect yourself when using those payment apps. You never send money to anyone that you don't know or recognize. If you get some sort of a request, you want to make sure that you verify that person. Now, if you get a cash request on that app and you do recognize um, the person that's requesting money from you, make sure that you call or contact them using a number that you know to be right, something that you have on hand, because you want to be able to double check the details before actually pressing send and sending money. Now, when I was in college, we almost all used Venmo when we were going out on an outing or something like that. One person would pay just because it was easier than having 10 people standing in line trying to pay for something, and then that person would get paid back with a Venmo app. Well, now that we are out of college, some of my friends think it's funny to send each other payment requests for $1 or a couple cents, and they'll have some sort of funny message on there. So if that's ever happens to you and it's somebody that you do recognize, you want to make sure that it's actually your friend that's playing a prank on you and not some sort of scammer. So you don't want to um, give in to their requests that way. So next, what's another way that we can protect ourselves when shopping online? Well, we're going to be interacting with a lot of websites and surfing different ways, but we want to be able to spot that fake website. One of the things that we can do, a really simple tip, is to be looking out for the URL address in the top of in your search bar when you're on a website. You're going to want to make sure that the URL starts with HTTPS. You want to make sure that there's an S on the end of that HTTP, because that stands for secure. Sometimes scammers will put just the HTTP in order to trick people into going onto that website, but you're going to want to be looking for that S. And if you end up being transferred to a website that doesn't have that, make sure you try to exit that website without interacting with anything there. Another thing is you can check to see when the URL code the URL address was registered. So you're going to want to check it to make sure that it hasn't been registered within the last 6 months. And you can easily check this by checking the registration through Whois Domain Lookup. And this is a domain registry. And you can copy paste the URL in the top of the website that you're on, and you can paste it into this search bar here. And you can just press search, look up, and you can see when the website was registered. If it was registered within the last 6 months, then I would try to avoid that website altogether, because it may just be a shell website that a scammer put in place in order for them to trick people into using. So that's one way that you can look for that fake website. Another one is looking for copy pasted content. Now, this is where a website will have identical pictures and descriptions that have been copy pasted from another website, or the site may be advertised on social media, and this could be a sign of a fake scam. For example, we have this picture. Shoes are the topic for the presentation today. And so let's say you're shopping for this specific shoe. Well, on the right-hand screen, you can see the original website for the shoe, where it's probably going to be at regular pricing. Well, then you can see the duplicate that has been made of that listing on the left-hand side. And you can see the pictures are the exact same. They have been copy-pasted. And the description, the title, is probably going to be identical to everything else. And so it's going to just be a perfect duplicate of the original website. If you see that, I would be careful about continuing and making purchases on that, because that could be a sign that a scammer has just used the profile and the pictures of that original shopping ad, and they've used it to make their website look more authentic. So that's one thing that you can be looking out for. Another one, The introduction of artificial intelligence has really kind of changed the game for fake websites and scams in general. So you're going to be wanting to look out for websites with AI generated images. These AI generated images may be used on the site or in advertisements or in social media posts. And they may even use AI chat boxes on the physical website in order to prompt victims who are on the website to click on malicious links or take specific actions. So you want to be very careful about using chat box and obeying chat boxes on those websites. Now, for example, for these AI generated advertisements, I mentioned YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, places like those. Oftentimes, even I was scrolling on YouTube last night in the shorts, and I came across a short that was so blatantly a scam. It was a video of Bill Gates talking, and there was an AI voice talking over him that was supposed to sound like him, and he was recommending a specific website where he was getting some sort of product. But you could tell that it was AI because the words and the lips on the video were not matching up quite right, and the voice sounded a little bit robotic in nature. So you want to be careful about clicking into those types of advertisements because most likely they'll lead to a scam. Also, these websites may use AI generated images. I've got an example here on the screen, and this is you'll want to be looking for subtle imperfections such as distorted hands, unrealistic eyes, or teeth. In this image, you can't see it quite as well, but the full image, the person's eyes were their eyelashes and their eyelids were kind of blending together, so it looked kind of unreal. And then also the teeth may, in some cases, look a little bit too perfect. Um, and they're going to have that too perfect look on them. Also, the skin color is not quite consistent in the image. As you can see right here on this image, the hair coming down around the neck seems to be blending into the skin, and it looks like there's like coal that's been streaked and smudged across the neck. And so that can be a good sign of the scam because AI generated images have a hard time with these type of details. And next, you're going to be looking for illegible text or numbers within the image. In this specific instance, they were trying to sell an earring. And you can see that the AI had a hard time showing all of the small details with this earring. So it kind of looks just like a melted glob of metal. And so that could be a good sign that it's a scam. Another one, you want to look out for websites that have just an outrageous number of ads and pop-ups. So if that site has an unusual amount of ads, that's usually not a good sign. Because the more ads that are on that website, the more likely you are to accidentally click somewhere. And if you click on that ad, then the owner of the website is going to get more money because the advertisement pays them per click on that advertisement. So if you keep getting pop-ups constantly on a website or things are, changing around and it's just cluttered, you may want to just find a different place to surf and search for things because you don't want to accidentally click on something that may install a virus or lead you somewhere you don't want to go. But ultimately, you just really need to do your research before entering money or personal information onto these um, onto these websites because you never know, and it's better to be safe than sorry. One way to do this research is by searching for the business's name and adding complaint or scam after the name and see what comes up because there may be other people who have fallen for this scam and they're warning people about it, or maybe the actual business is warning that somebody has been pretending to be them. You're going to want to compare prices, and you want to remember if the price you see on the site is dramatically different than than the original listing or than other listings, you want to be careful about that because that may be just a bait to get you to click in there. And then also talk to other people about the websites you find. I know if I find a great deal on a certain website for something, sometimes I'll text my brother and I'll shoot him the link and say, "What do you think about this? This seems like a really good deal." And oftentimes it ends up being a scam and we don't do business on that website. But it's good to be able to talk through something with somebody because they may have heard on the news or through other items that that specific website is a scam website. So you can use other people as a sounding board for that. So, some general things. We love sharing the red flags for a scam because it is impossible for us to know every single scam that is out there. And it would take so long for us to explain every scam out there. And so, if you remember these red flags, it can really help you spot those scams and avoid getting tricked. The first one is the scammer is going to pretend to be someone that you know or recognize. Like I mentioned, sometimes they will have advertisements on social media platforms, and it's going to be a celebrity or somebody really well known recommending some sort of product. And you got to think to yourself, is this something legitimate that that person would recommend? And you want to check it for that AI stutter, if you will, where the voice is not matching the lips moving on the individual. Next, you're going to want to look out for if a scammer is saying that there's a problem or a prize. They're going to say there's something wrong with your computer because of a pop up. They're going to say that if you don't authenticate your login information, verify it, then you're going to get into trouble. Or they're going to say that you are not going to get a prize if you don't act soon. Or you're going to miss out on some sort of discount. So that's another red flag. Our third one is that scammers will pressure you to act immediately. If oftentimes scammers will like to put a countdown next to their listing because they want to pressure you into thinking that if you don't act now, that you're not going to get in on that discount. And you want to make sure that you don't feel pressured to act immediately. Legitimate companies always have a good window where you're able to act and do business that way. And then finally, you're going to want to be careful about the payment options because scammers will tell you to pay in a specific way. And we talked about that earlier. Those are going to be prepaid gift cards, cryptocurrency, money transfer services, things of that nature. So now let's look at those free tools that we love to share with people. Just some things that can help you protect yourself and your personal information. The first one is your password. When working online, your password is the first item that will protect you from trouble. And that password should be at least 16 character long because generally, the longer the password, the stronger it is. It makes it more difficult for the scammer to go through and figure it out. You're going to want to use a combination of upper and lowercase letters as well as numbers and symbols. And then don't make passwords that are related to your personal life. Usually we tell people that anything that you would post on social media or family members would post on social media probably wouldn't be the best use of a password. Things like first and last name of children or grandchildren, birth dates, anniversary dates, names of pets, different things like that. Now, if you're looking to create a password, a unique password, something that we suggest that you can do is if you have a favorite song or movie quote or Bible verse, something like that, take the first letter of each word in that phrase or whatever and use that as the password. And then you can throw in some symbols or something like that to make it a little bit more secure. So that can be a good way to remember that password. Next, in partnership with that password, you're going to want multi-factor authentication on as many accounts as you can. This is basically that something that requires something in addition to your password in order to log in. For example, let's say I wanted to log into my banking app. Well, I would first have to put in my password, And then I would get a text message from my bank, and it would be a 5 or 6 or 4 digit code. And then I would have to take that and put it into the app in order for me to actually get into my bank account. So that way, if a scammer somehow guesses my password or gets my password, they are going to get stopped by a second wall that is a little bit more complicated to get through. And I would get a text message of somebody trying to get into my app and asking for that authentication code. And I'd be able to lock down my account and change my password that way. Some places to implement this. You're going to want to, you can use it on your email accounts, financial services, social media accounts, online stores, and also gaming and streaming entertainment services. Those are some good places to use that. Another great tool for you to use is monitoring your financial and personal accounts. Make sure you review your statements often and regularly in order to find correct information and that things are arriving on time. Some of these statements to watch out for include government benefits, medical benefit accounts, and then also bank accounts. Those are some good places to start with. And also, if your accounts have options for an alert system, that is a great tool for you to use. So things like spending thresholds on your financial accounts. Let's say if I put a spending threshold on my account for $100. Well, then any charge that is made over $100, I would get a text message or a call or a notification asking me, is this you actually making this purchase, or is this somebody using it without your permission? Also, new login from unknown device alerts, or is this you alerts? Often Google will like to use these. If you log into your Google account from a different device, you'll get a notification that asks, is this you? And you have to enter in and say yes in order to get into that account. So that's some good alert systems that you can use. Also, credit card alerts, such as credit report changes. We suggest that people check their credit report at least once a year. Recently, a law was passed that you can check your credit report for free, at least check your credit report every week if you would like to. And if you go to annualcreditreport.com, you can get that credit report for free. This does not contain your credit score and won't affect your credit score. But it's a good way for you to make sure that someone isn't using your information without your permission. And so you'll be able to see if an account has been opened up in your name that you did not authorize. And that would be a good way for you to spot a scammer. And this website is authorized by federal government. So some other offers may charge you a fee in order to view your credit report, but this is one that we trust and recommend. Another thing that you can do is enter a fraud alert. Put this onto your credit account, and this lasts 1 year. It's free to place, and it will alert businesses that may be viewing your report to take some extra steps to verify your identity before letting them in and letting them view documents. And all it is one call. That's all. You have to call one of the 3 credit bureaus. That's TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. Call one of those 3 and they can set that up for you. Now, one of my favorite tools that I personally have on my account is a credit security freeze. This is something that's free to place or lift, and it stops anyone from accessing your credit report. This means that no new lines of credit can be opened up in your name. Now, let's say that you need access to your credit report. Let's say you're changing residency, and somebody needs to check your credit report. Well, then you can call the credit bureau that business is using and say, hi, I would like to thaw my account for a day, a week, a month, whatever you need. And they will open the account and you can do your business. And then as soon as that time period is over, your account will freeze again and you'll be secure. Now, this one's a little bit more involved to set up. You're going to need to place this freeze with each of the 3 credit bureaus. So that's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And you'll have to go through a verification process in order to do this because they don't want just anyone freezing your account. So some takeaways. We want to be able to remember some of the things later on. First, remember the adage: if it seems too good to be true in pricing, in you know the deals you get, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Pick your payment options wisely. Consider using a credit card when shopping online, and because it offers those extra fraud protections, and it'll limit the amount of stuff that people can steal from you. Also, review your financial statements often. It's really important that you check your statements at least once a month in order to check to see if anything unauthorized has shown up or if a statement is missing, different things like that. And then don't be fooled by good looking websites. It's so easy to create a good looking website, but you're going to want to run these tests that we talked about today on those websites to see if it's legitimate or not. So, if you or a loved one has been a victim of identity theft, please feel free to contact our office. You can call us at 803-734-4200 and you can reach out to us there, or you can report that identity theft to our office at consumer.se.gov. All right, that was a lot of material, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to put in any questions that you have. If remember, you're going to want to put that into the Q&A box, not the chat box. If you want the presentation, it'll be in that chat box, but look at the Q&A box and you can enter that information there. While you guys are putting in your questions, I'm going to share some of the other resources that we have. We've got a ton of publications that we've created, and our designer has done such a good job making these look really nice, and we've worked hard to put in good information into these. And if you would like some for your organization or people that you work with, you can request up to 50 at a time of each of these, and we'll mail these out to you for free, because we want to put this material into your hands. Also, connect with us. We would love to have you follow us on all of our social media. We have great content that comes out each week, and you'll get alerts and different things like that. And so please use those items for your benefit. Also, we've got our last shred event of the year coming up December 10th, and it's going to be here in Columbia at our office at 293 Greystone Boulevard. And yeah, that's going to be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And so you can bring 3 bags or banker boxes of material to shred, and we'll shred those for you on site. And also, like we've done in the past couple of years, we are partnering for this specific event with Harvest Hope Food Bank. And so you can bring items to donate, and we will take those. We also take cash donations on site. And so you can go to our website through this link to see some of the items that the food bank is specifically looking for. And that can be a great way that you can help out during the holiday season. And these are our upcoming webinars. So please log in with us. I will be doing the charity scams this next week. And so I look forward to having you guys back with me. And I'd love to just talk about some of those things around this season. And you can go to all of these links and register for those. I hope you guys will have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I hope as you guys prepare for the holiday seasons that things will go smoothly for you. Have a great day. Thank you for joining.